Hi there. Welcome to the Bloomingdale Public Library. I'm Miss Jones, and this is Miss Heidi. And we're here today because we want to tell you about some brand new books that are here at the library. They're going to be great for you to read during the winter here that's coming up. It's going to be cold and we're spending more time inside. So we want to get started right away with some of these titles, and I think we want to work on graphic novels first.
Let's do graphic novels first.
This is called Super Sidekicks, No Adults Allowed. Now, there are three young kids, and JJ and Fly Girl and Dynamite, and and see this little globby thing over there? His name is Goo. And they are all trying to get away from the adult superheroes. You know, they want to have adventure, they want to do some good things, and they really can't when they're with the adults. The adults want them to do laundry and clean up the house, and they're not really getting to do what they want to do. So this is the first in a series of how they're going to get away from the adult superheroes, and one of them is not cooperating, and he's giving them a really hard time. There's lots of action in this. It's a very colorful graphic novel, and it is the first of a series that's coming up, so that's a good fun one.
Sounds like it might be funny, too. Was it funny?
Yeah, they are kind of funny, yeah. And the creatures, the Goo, and there's the dinosaur, he can turn into other things. So it's very lively. It's very lively. Now, this one is Tales of the Feathered Serpent, Rise of the Halfling King. And this is about a young boy who, he's growing up in the Yucatan of Mexico. And he's actually being raised by a witch, but she's a very good witch. She's a nice lady. And there's been a tale that, you know, the next king has to be someone that has to go through certain tests before he can actually become the king. So they decide that he should be able to try this. He should try all the challenges. And there's a lot of danger involved with this. This is a nice graphic novel, not as colorful as the other one, but the places they talk about that are in the Yucatan are real. All the pyramids and the way the Mayans lived, those are real things. So it's based on some truth. The third one that I have is called The Inkberg Enigma. And this is Miro and Zia, and they live in a small little town. It's a fishing town. And they begin to discover some clues that there's something kind of funny about this town, maybe something even a little supernatural. And the fishermen that live in this town, they have kind of formed a very secretive club. And Miro and his friend Zia, they find out about it, and they're actually in a lot of danger. There's a lady that lives in a castle, and she eventually tells the story of her father and how all these things came about. So it's kind of mysterious. It's also a little bit historical because they talk about trips to Antarctica in here.
Fun.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of adventures in your graphic novels.
Yeah, these were good. These are really good.
Awesome. My first graphic novel is Measuring Up, and it's all about Cece, who is a young girl who just moved to the United States from Taiwan, and she loves to cook. She's really good at it, and she has this kind of a secret superpower that you'll find out partway through the book that helps her be really, really good at cooking. If you like cooking shows or cooking competitions, you will love this book. She moves to the United States and immediately finds a cooking competition. She wants to be a real chef, and this is the perfect way to improve her skills and also maybe earn a little bit of money for something that she really, really, really wants that would be very important to her and her family. She misses someone very, very much.
Are there any recipes?
You know what? There's no recipes in this
recipes.
book. But one of the best parts about reading new books is that if you see something in the book that you like, you can go look it up later. You can ask a librarian. You can look it up on the internet. So she talks about dishes, and I want to go look up the recipes and find them for myself. But the recipes are not in this book. You have to do a little bit of work. That one was really, really good. Also, kind of exciting because you don't know who's going to win the competition. And she has some pretty stiff rivals.
And they get upset if they don't win.
Well, you know, she's got a really important goal.
They're competitive.
Yes.
Yes.
My next book is Fantastic Tales of Nothing. It's a pretty big book to be about nothing, isn't it? This one is kind of like Star Wars with the Princess Bride. It's got bounty hunters, magic powers that the main character isn't supposed to have, haunted forests, ancient tombs, a quest. And Nathan, our main character, has to figure out a lot of things really quickly. He just got to this fantastical place, which is called Nothing. That's the name of the magical land or whatever.
Nothing.
Yeah, so it's Tales of Nothing because the land is called Nothing. Bit of a spoiler. But he just dropped into this world. He is very confused. He's also on the run from people who are after him. And then, of course, there's the haunted forest and the tombs and the superpowers and what could go wrong?
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
My next graphic novels, I actually have 3. They are all part of a set called History Comics. We have History Comics, The Roanoke Colony, which has a mystery involved, a real-life historical mystery. We have The Great Chicago Fire and The Challenger Disaster. So all of these are a little bit similar and a little bit different. So The Challenger Disaster is about a real space shuttle and a disaster that happened. I'm not going to tell you anymore because you want to read the book. And then The Great Chicago Fire is also a tragedy, but there's a little bit of a mystery to it. How did the fire start? Where did it start? And then the 2 little kids in this book get separated from their parents. So there's a little bit of a mystery there too. Will they find them again? I don't know. The most mysterious one of all, though, is the Roanoke Colony. It was the very first settlement of Europeans in, I guess, the northern part of the United States. And they were left behind while their ships went back to get more supplies. And when the ships came back, they had disappeared. Poof, gone. This book tells you that story, but then it tells you all the possible ideas for what could have happened to them.
And that really
Did they
happened.
move away? Did they die? We don't know.
Oh.
But these
some
are
ideas.
so many ideas. There are
Yeah.
ideas in this book. I love this mystery. There are ideas in this book that I had never heard about before. But all of these, well, I'm going to open the Chicago Fire one because I think that's my favorite. They're all graphic novels with lots of color, lots of action. They've got some extra information at the back. And kind of like the Measuring Up book, if you like these, you can use them to find more things to learn about. There's lots of books on the Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
There's lots of books about all of these.
These are actually kind of all real events, too.
They are.
They're all real places.
Yep, they're all nonfiction. They're all true.
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe some of the ideas for what happened to the disappeared Roanoke colonists aren't true. But the main stories in all of these 3 books
the places.
are true.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, I have 3 books here that are nonfiction.
More nonfiction, yay!
I know. They're so exciting, though. This is called 111 Trees, How One Village Celebrates the Birth of Every Girl. Now, this is actually set in India. And there's a gentleman that lives in a village. And in that village, well, people don't get real excited when little baby girls are born. They just really want boys in their family. And he wants to change that. He wants to change how people feel about having girls in the family. So he begins a movement where they actually plant 111 trees for every girl that's born. And what really came out of this is a true story. What came out of this was how their environment changed with all of the extra trees and the aloe plants and things that they've actually planted, changed everything about their environment, actually, and changed the amount of water they had available to them also.
That's cool.
It just changed a wasteland. So this is a really good story. It's not very long, and it's really nicely illustrated to give you an idea of what the village might be like. So a real good book.
111 trees.
Yeah.
For every single baby girl.
Wow. Yeah,
That's a lot.
And that's quite a project because he also wanted them to promise to not have the girls be engaged to be married before they're 18. He wanted to change their possibilities for education. So he had a lot of little extra things that went with it. This is a little bit bigger. It is a nonfiction. It is called All 13, The Incredible Cave Rescue of the Thai Boys Soccer Team. I remember when these boys were lost. They actually went with their coach. They were a soccer team in Thailand. They went with their coach to explore a cave. And there was a rainy season there, and it hadn't really been raining, so they decided to go ahead and explore the cave. They went through, and they had to go through some really tight places But when they started to come back through, they found out those areas had flooded, and they were trapped underground. This was a 17-day rescue mission. They had people from Europe, from the United States, all over, from Thailand, countries all over the place, trying to figure out a way to get these boys out of the cave. With all this water, they were really sealed off. It's an amazing story. I found out some things about this, how the rescue that I didn't know about at all. I don't even know if it was in the press. When each boy came out, they had an ambulance waiting for them, and it was a total miracle that they were able to get everyone out. So this is very well written. It's also got some great photographs. Here are some of the moms as they told them that their children were safe. So it's a great story of just heartwarming things that kept happening. That here you can see they have floods all the time, so you could see some of the flooding. And they actually had big, huge pumps that they were trying to pump water out of the cave, hoping that it wouldn't start to rain. Can you guess what happened after they got the last person out?
Did it start to rain?
We're talking monsoons.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
So it's very, very, very scary, and they were very lucky. Excellent book. This one is very different. It's a little bit short. It's called Swish, the Slam Dunking Alley Ooping High Flying Harlem Globetrotters. And if you've had the opportunity to see the Harlem Globetrotters, they are an amazing basketball team. They came out of New York, and they weren't always wonderful, but there's a guy that had this idea, why don't we get this group of guys together, and they were really great basketball players. The unfortunate thing is they did experience some unhappiness, I would say. They weren't always accepted in all the restaurants and hotels, but they learned to travel. They traveled in an old car, and they went around to towns, and they became so popular that they met the Queen of England. They became very well known around the world, and just were super popular with everybody. And I'll show you, they have an illustration of, I just passed it by. Here's the team. They had a lot of different people on it. They even have a girl on the current team.
Cool.
And then there's a timeline in the back that tells about all the years that they were playing, or they have been playing, because they're still very popular and they're still out there.
Aren't they known for doing like really fancy basketball, like lots of
Oh
trick
yeah,
shots
they
and
do
stuff
lots
like
of
that?
tricks, and what was interesting was they were playing just regular old basketball teams, and at first, people didn't know if they wanted to do it, but then they started beating everybody.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to pick that one up.
Yeah, that's good,
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
short, and the illustrations are really fun.
This book is really fun too. It's not that short, but it is called What Breathes Through Its Butt. Would you like to guess?
Oh, yeah, sure, you tell me.
Let's see.
Is it in the first few pages? Or
No.
did it make you wait,
So
wait?
this book is not just about what animal or animals breathe through their behinds. It's actually lots and lots and lots of really cool science questions that you can use to fool your friends, win trivia contests, and just know really, really neat stuff. If you open it up, it's all in black and white, but it's lots of illustrations. Almost like a graphic novel. It's got pictures on every single page to illustrate all of the different science questions that they're answering. And if you look at the front in the table of contents, every chapter is a question. So, what part of your body can't feel any pain? It's the only part of your body that will never hurt.
Fingernail? No.
I don't know. I've hurt my fingernails.
No, I meant the nail itself. I think? No?
Nope.
No? Gosh, I don't know. I can't guess. What is it? You tell me.
It is the end of your elbow. The skin right there.
Has no feeling?
It has hardly any nerves in it.
Wow.
So some of the other questions in here.
But haven't you bumped your elbow and it hurt? Just hit.
But it's not the skin part.
It's not the skin part.
Yep.
Wow.
So it talks about the strongest muscle in your body, the best way to escape the grip of a crocodile's jaw. So if you ever get, grabbed by a
Get too
crocodile
close to the
on any of your
crocodile?
adventures, it'll tell you how to get away. Or let's see what else is in here. How much gas does one cow burp and fart in a day?
A lot. I know that.
You'll have to read the book
Yeah,
to
I
find out
guess I will,
exactly
but
how much.
I've heard it's a lot.
Or Here's a really handy one. How do you block a tickle?
Oh, ho, ho.
I think I'm gonna have to check
Is that
chapter out.
possible?
I don't know.
Okay.
On page,
We're going to have to all check this
page
book out.
210 will tell you if it's possible. But all of these questions are funny. They all have really neat answers, and they're all based on science.
Very interesting book. Oof.
This book is also science. It is not funny. It is the grossest book that I have read in a long time, but it's fascinating. It's called Blood and Germs: The Civil War Battle Against Wounds and Disease. It's got some really, really great illustrations, lots of blood. But it's all about the history of doctors and disease and medicine and germs during the Civil War. It's amazing how gross the Civil War really was. Things like bugs, parasites.
Yeah, I took a little peek at that book, and I was amazed at the photographs they have because of the Civil War era that you're talking about.
Photographs were pretty new. They were high tech.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's really good pictures of generals and battlefields and things like that, and even like their little hospital wagons, is a really big deal. They did a lot of work.
But also the injuries.
I'm gonna see.
I was amazed at the photos they had of injuries. That were
Yeah, some of the
sustained by
injury
soldiers.
photos were kind of gross.
Mm-hmm, a little bit.
Let's see. There are also some drawings. Because if you couldn't get a photograph, the next best thing was to draw what you saw. And paintings.
I have to check this book out.
You should check this book
I
out.
will check this book out.
Or there's a picture of a bone with a musket ball, which is like an old-timey bullet, stuck in the bone of the leg.
It's kind of sticking out.
I'm not going to tell you why they only have part of the bone of the leg right there.
Uh-oh.
But this
More to
book
the
taught me
story.
so much, and I like gross things, and I like learning things, so I really, really enjoyed this.
For anybody who's interested in the Civil War, also, this is a great opportunity to see a lot of different kind of pictures. They're not
Or
the
how
standard
doctors
ones.
used to work,
The doctors especially.
and nurses, and there's even some people who were in special disguises for a couple different reasons. But yeah, that one
That's a good
definitely worth checking out. And then I have two more. Is it okay if I do two more?
Oh, you go.
My next one is cardboard box engineering. Not gross at all. But it's a lot more involved than I thought it would be. I thought these would be some pretty easy projects, and there are some easy ones in there, but there's also some pretty complex ones where you need to measure and you need tools like a ruler or a level or a box cutter. But some of the stuff they make is really neat.
They look pretty involved.
So, and it tells you how to do things like how to peel paper off of cardboard and how the cardboard is built.
Pretty detailed pictures, though. I mean...
Well, that's really helpful because some of these
Step by
projects are
step.
pretty intense. So
Step
this
by
one you
step.
can make a grabber, and it shows you how to
That's
build
pretty
that.
good.
And then it shows you how to make a robotic hand, just out of box pieces, and I think some string. And then where's some of the more complex
I used to
ones?
save boxes all the time.
It tells you how to make a rocket, like a stomp rocket, where you step on it and it shoots. And it's got blueprints for how to make all of the different things. It's got step-by-step instructions. And the projects get more and more advanced as you go on. So something that might take maybe a day or a whole weekend,
Yeah.
really good, like indoor projects for over the winter, grab a couple boxes in this book and just go to town.
Yeah, really good.
And most of the projects, too, do things. Like they're a rocket, or they're a grabber, or they're something you can use to paint. Like, once you're done with your cardboard project, there's other things you can do with the stuff that you've made. So that's cool. Speaking of building, I absolutely love this book. I think I need to go buy a copy. It's called Girls Who Build. And just like the cardboard box book, this has projects in it, and they're not super, super easy projects. Some are, but they usually take a little bit of equipment, a little bit of know-how. And this is Katie. Katie started an organization to teach girls how to use tools. Like big tools that will
Like
punch
the electrical
holes.
things? All the,
Yeah, power tools like drills and really big dangerous saws. And she teaches them all the safety that they need to know. how to use the tools, how to do it well, and then you can see them making all these projects. So through this book, it will show you all the safety gear that you need. It will tell you what the tools are, what they're used for, and how they work. And then it has stories. So this is Alice. Alice is 9 years old, and she's one of the girls who works with Katie to learn how to build things. And so it has a little interview, why she builds things, what she likes best, how she got started being interested in building, and then it has her project, which is a chicken ladder. She made a ladder so her chickens could get up into their chicken coop. This is one of the easiest projects, but it's got all of your supplies, all of your directions, and the little story about Alice.
And her chickens. You can see
her
them in the
chickens.
pictures. Yeah, they're in the picture.
And then there's all different girls throughout the book with their little interviews, how old they are, where they live, and then the projects and things that they made. Like Marilee made a nightstand with a drawer that really works. So the projects get harder and harder, but as you read through the book, you learn more, and you can work your way all the way up through these different projects.
Those are good ones. Good projects.
I learned a lot, and now I want to go buy tools.
I have a couple of nonfictions too, and you're talking about girls building things. I have girls about travel. I have a girl who travels a lot, and this is called Wild Girl: How to Have Incredible Outdoor Adventures, and her name is Helen Skelton. Now this book, some of it is illustrated. I think she has some real photos in here too. And she talks about how when she was growing up, she just always liked to have adventures, and she was always doing things and going places and hiking and just really, really busy. And this tells about some of the really involved adventures that she had. Right in the table of contents, she had adventures in the snow, adventures on the sand, adventures on the water, adventures in the mountains, adventures in the countryside, and adventures in the city. But it wasn't just strolling or walking through things. She picked places that were really, really difficult. This is a wild adventure inside the ice. She goes into, she talks about going out on the ice.
I like how she says it's an adventure in the snow, but she doesn't tell you right away that she's in Antarctica.
Yeah, exactly.
Like she's not in the snow in her backyard.
Sand is really, really amazing, because this is one of the hottest deserts in the world. It's a yearly event, and she tells you what kinds of clothes you have to take, the things that you need, that you're going to need, what not to take, because they might cause you to have problems with your feet. She does this with each one of her adventures. Here she is in the Amazon.
Ooh. Hey, see, there's a gator. She might need this
I know,
other book.
she might. And she's actually canoeing, kayaking in this. So there's real adventures. The one that she found the most difficult was actually going out with the military, and it was an 8-hour hike, and she really didn't think she was going to be able to make it. She had to train with this group of this military. They're like SEALs, and she did some pretty rough stuff with a backpack that she realized was way too heavy for her. So it's an eye-opening adventure of what a woman can do when she sets her mind to it, and then some of the amazing places in the world that you can go and see.
Didn't she get a Guinness record for one of those too?
Probably. The other book I want to show you, because this one kind of helps you understand some of the places that she went. This is the Atlas of Record-Breaking Adventures. And it's a collection of the biggest, fastest, longest, hottest, toughest, tallest, and most deadly things around the world. And I wanted to point out that she has done some of these things. A lot of these examples, or some of these things that they have in here, are underground. They have like underground, there's an underground burial ground, this in France. This is one of the most extreme human endurance run. It's in Morocco, and this is the one that she did.
Was that her adventure in the sand?
Yeah,
in the
this is
desert?
her adventure in the sand. So it goes through all kinds of places around the world and tells of things. Here's the largest collection of human bones, and it's in France.
Creepy.
So there are
That's
things
awesome.
in this book that Helen did, but also there's all these other like creepy, unusual places to go. The highest river is in Tibet. And great illustrations and great detail as to what actually you're going to experience. The greatest insect builders are in Australia. And here we go, the fastest bird in the USA. So I love this book, and the two of them together really fit nicely because she talks about these adventures. And then the one book that's kind of the last, or nonfiction, 50 Maps of the World. And this is very comprehensive. It goes by the continents, and it's all illustrated. Here's one of, I wanted to see the USA if I thought that was, here's one of France. And it tells you all the different places that you can go and see when you're in France, and a lot of statistics. It tells about the language and the capital, gives you moments to remember where they've been. It's fascinating. It's kind of a big book, as you can see. This is all in Poland, so it goes all around the world. So it's excellent nonfiction. It gives you a lot of time. If anybody who likes maps is really going to enjoy this book. These are some really good titles that we have for you, brand new for the winter, and we hope you'll come down and you'll check some of them out. Now, if you can't find them here, we can always get them from another library. We can put them on hold for you, and we have a really nice bookmark for you all to pick up here, so you can remember what you're checking out. All of our hours are the same. We're open at all of our full hours. We do social distance while we're here, and we're always wearing our mask to keep us safe. So we hope that you will come to the Bloomingdale Public Library, check out some books, ask about any of these, and until we see you, it's bye for now. Bye.